Welcome back, YouTube. I'm Quill, and I'll be your artist today. You're watching the fourth video of my channel, which is also the fourth part of my 7 Sonas for 7 Weeks series. You don't have to watch these in any particular order, but I do recommend that you watch the first video to have the most context. In that video, I said I would be making Sonas for the fandoms I anticipate making YouTube videos for/about, and that's still true, for the most part. I haven't truly been a part of the Warriors fandom for years. I stopped reading the books halfway through the Power of 3 arc, and I've only heard bits and pieces of the following storylines through the internet. There's a couple of YouTubers that keep me coming back though, as I love hearing about their OCs or watching them make art I could only dream of when I first joined the fandom. I don't care much for the books or the characters anymore, but I've always loved cats, and that's the main reason I'm making the Sona of today's video. It's less a warrior Sona and more of a generic cat content Sona that may sometimes be very loosely related to warriors, but calling them a warrior Sona is a hell of a lot easier to say. For those of you who clicked on this video purely for my charming commentary and spectacularly average drawing skills and have no idea what Warriors is, allow me to briefly explain. Warriors is a long-running book series that features cats as its main protagonists. They're not anthropomorphized, and humans do still exist, called two-legs, but they do have a decently defined society. They have jobs, government, laws, religion, war crimes. They're rather interesting books, written by rather interesting people. Aaron Hunter, the author, is actually a team of people that's gained and lost members throughout the years. Interestingly enough, one of the authors left and wrote her own series where dragons are the protagonists. Wink wink, hint hint. Nudge, nudge nudge, wink, hint. Anywho, since my fandom knowledge is both limited and slowly fading with time, I'll try to talk less about the books and their extensive vocabulary, and more about the effect of the books and, as I said, cats in general. I didn't really need a mood board for this drawing, and I worried it would take too much time away from the actual drawing and editing part of this video, but I'm so glad I made one anyway. I had so much fun getting the arrangement of things just right, like the progression of the sun/moon in the middle column. I think I have to stop myself from making mood boards for every OC I have, because otherwise I'll put way too much thought into every little detail. Since this Sona is really just more of a feral cat than a warrior Sona, I could have given them fantasy coloring, but I wanted to challenge myself and keep it realistic. One of the main creators pulling me back to the fandom is Hungry Little Warrior and their cat genetics videos, which I will heavily reference in all my cat/warriors content on this channel. If you somehow haven't heard of them, I strongly urge you to check them out. I'll try to keep it simple for this video, but essentially, the red of my Sona design will just become a highly pigmented ginger, and the white will transfer over the same. The blue and purple will be limited to accessories, and I'll try to patchwork a way for this cat to work with real-ish genetics. I knew I wanted this cat to be black and orange, which would normally be a tortoiseshell, but I also needed white, which would make them a low white calico. I was a little hesitant to do this because my oldest warrior Sona, now just the regular OC, is also a low white calico. But I really needed a way to make the Sona design work, so I had to be very decisive about certain design choices to make sure you can tell the difference between them. Let me give you a very quick introduction to this OC to make the comparison process a little easier. This is Maple Paw. She's a long-furred, low-white calico with amber eyes. Her design will be reworked once again, but for the most part, she's primarily black with a few ginger accents and very low white. She's made of big, soft shapes. My Sona, to contrast this, will have much more ginger and white in their design, via short hair, and made of smaller, varied shapes. I thumbnailed out a design using a free base I found online, credit to Vega Loves Cake on DeviantArt, that I then tweaked more and more before starting the actual drawing. Their white markings stayed the same, almost resembling a tuxedo pattern to represent the shirt, and while I used ginger markings on the front arms to represent the tattoos, because all ginger markings look striped even if they aren't genetically, I kept the back legs black to resemble the pants. I used golden leaves as accessories for the horns and golden star buttons on the shirt. I was actually quite proud of this. And I blotched on some very transparent blue and purple along their neck/torso to call back to the blue and purple braids of my main Sona. I'm just going to pretend that my Sona rolled around in some very pigmented flowers. I made the Sona's eyes a nice blue with purple undertones. I debated actually giving them purple or red eyes, as a lot of the fandom works will forgo realism in this way. Just look at Ravenpaw or Shadowsight. But I ultimately went with blue because it's a much bigger color in the other designs, and I really wanted it to be more prominent in this design as well. I know this breaks continuity with all my previous Sonas having red eyes, but I just felt this was the better call. Besides, blue eyes often reflect red, so I can just make their pupils reddish and keep that mostly realistic factor intact. Besides, I'll have to pull a similar trick in the next video because characters from that fandom almost never have red eyes unless they're evil, and I'm not evil. Speaking of Shadowsight, I almost went back to reading the books just for him. I don't know much of anything about him, but I think he holds some of my favorite character tropes. Cursed, yet demonized for said curse. That's basically the definition of my favorite OC, who you will hear plenty about in the future. Still, if I were to finish the series just so I could read about Shadowsight, I'd have to reread The Power of Three, because I don't remember jack all about it, and I don't really want to do that. So if any of you feel like rambling about Shadowsight to me, spoilers intact, please feel free to. I love a good ramble. Putting that aside, I guess it's time for that part of my videos where I admit that I don't know what kind of fandom content I'll make and that I'm open to suggestions. Except this is the one fandom where I won't really be getting back into the fandom and will more so just be talking about fan creations that have stemmed off of the original texts. Like all of my current works, my Warriors OC spin-off world is in desperate need of a rewrite, so it'll be a while before I make any content about it. I started one last summer when I discovered Hungry Little Warriors channel, but I haven't touched it in a while. There's really only one OC I got attached to, Maplepaw, which means I have both free reign and an empty well to draw from. Which is fine, since it'll take a pretty big overhaul for me to actually stick with anything that originated from Warriors. I'm even thinking about bending reality a little, making it more fantasy than most Warriors works. I don't know, man, I kinda want my cats to have purple eyes. And horns, and maybe even wings. I don't know, I'll work that part out later. In the meantime, I'll probably check out this whole clan gen thing that people seem to like. I watched a few others' videos, but I'm mostly there for the art and end up accidentally tuning out all of the clan gen side of things. Oops. But I toyed around with it a little bit while writing the script, and I think I could have a lot of fun with it. I'll either take it way too serious, or I won't take it seriously enough, and I'll cut things out from the generator and end up making my own side stories. A difficult decision indeed. Or, in the glorious words of Miguel and Tulio, both. Both is good. I struggled quite a bit trying to find a good pose for the character still. I used multiple references, but it still feels a little off. Maybe that's just because this is the only Sona that has their full body in frame. I tried cropping it, but it just looked too weird. Anyways, same process as before with very minor tweaks from the thumbnail. I honestly really love the design, and it almost feels like a perfect Sona. I think the braid to pattern translation actually worked really well from this pose/perspective, and it made me feel so much better about the design. I still have a long way to go before I can truly say that's my style in regard to drawing cats, but that just means I'll need to find an excuse to draw lots and lots of cats. Also, apologies if the following videos don't come out on the weekly schedule. School is starting back up and I'm still working part-time, among other obligations, so please forgive me. I'll try my best to keep things posted every 2 weeks at the latest, but life is chaotic and very unpredictable. Disclaimer aside, here's the final art. Look at it! Look at it! Or don't. I don't tell you what to do. As always, thank you for watching. It really does mean a lot, especially with content as all over the place as this. I'll see y'all in the next video where I trade paws for hooves.